Welcome back to the QB Huddle Podcast. Another week of college and NFL football in the books. We apologize for missing last week. We had some scheduling conflicts, some technical difficulties with our interview with Solo, but we're back. And this week, we have a record-setting quarterback from the UCO, University of Central Oklahoma. Jett Huff is joining us. Welcome, Jett. We're going to give you a round of applause for breaking all of Brandon's records. So Jett is here to join us to just talk a little bit about his story. He's got a big game coming up this Saturday on ESPN. And without further ado, Brandon Newey, take it away, my friend.
Man, this is a special one. I'm excited about this. Division II doesn't get a lot of love. And, you know, what Central Oklahoma is doing right now is something special. We haven't seen it in 20 years since my cousin D.D. Carter played. They're ranked 7th right now. You know, they won their conference. They're 11-1 after that overtime victory last week. He gave me a heart attack, but I wish I was there. But, man, you put on a show, 371 passing yards. My goodness. So right now he's leading. He's broken the record, the career season record for most touchdowns, setting that school record. He's at 33 right now. He's ranked nationally in touchdown passes at number 3. And he's also ranked in top 2 in passing yards and 3rd in touchdowns. My goodness, man, you've been on a roll. So as a proud alum, my brother, I am proud of you. I'm glad you are on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim's already introduced him, Mr. Jett Huff.
So
how's things been going, man? How's things been going? Talk to me a little bit about, you know, the growth, you know, from College Station. I know you're another Texas kid, so you know, you're a coach's son. You've had a lot of championship pedigree in the earlier years. So talk to me a little bit about the early experiences that shaped you out to the quarterback you are today.
Yeah, well, you know, my dad's been a head high school coach pretty much since I've been born. And, I mean, I've grown up in a locker room around dudes that were a lot older than me. But all I saw was, you know, success and wins. And that's, you know, thanks to my dad. You know, I think he's the greatest coach ever. A little biased, but he's had a lot of success since I've been young. And so just growing up in a locker room and getting to experience, you know, so many district championships and trips to the playoffs and just being around guys that care, I think that kind of gave me the love for the game that I have now. And that's really, you know, been one of the biggest parts of my growth in my football journey.
Nice, man. And also, man, with that, I mean, growing up as a coach's son, I mean, you're already instilling discipline. You're probably in the film room a lot longer than most players. And so you've had an opportunity to step up. Now, also, you know, a little bit of resiliency comes in. I mean, you sign out of school, you go to University of Houston, battle that out your freshman year. Talk to us a little bit about that journey, because I, too, had a similar one many, many years ago where you might have loved the place, but you have to make a decision early, and you have to make it for yourself. So just talk to us about that.
Yeah, I went to Houston in high school. Freshman year, I redshirted, and kind of after my freshman spring, after spring ball and my exit meeting, you know, meet with my position coach, and, you know, he kind of, you know, shot me straight as far as what my future looked like there. And it was basically, you know, the conversation of, you know, you're probably never going to be a starter here. And I, you know, I've said it before, I appreciate that honesty, you know, more than anything else. And, you know, still loved him as a coach. He was a great guy. But, you know, hard conversations have to be had, especially in college football.
Yep.
So I kind of knew then, you know, this probably isn't going to work out how I wanted it to. But I also knew in the fall that I was going to be on the travel squad. And I didn't want to pass up being able to go to some of the cool Big 12 venues, you know, that a lot of guys don't get to experience. And I got to see some cool places, travel the country a little bit. And so I stayed for my sophomore fall. And, you know, it was we didn't have a great season as far as wins, losses, but learned a lot. It was a really good experience, and obviously I met some of my best friends there, dudes that I talk to every day now. So it really helped kind of shape me into what I am now. Motivated me a lot. Wanted to prove to myself, I could still play. I could still do this. It just took a few years to get where I am now.
I got you. Hey, it builds character, man. I mean, as we all know, college football is a business, and I tell, my guys this going all the time, and, you got to understand it. There's several quarterbacks that want the same position, right? Want the same opportunity. I bet that put a chip on your shoulder too, and look at you now. So talk to me a little bit about, that process where you're thinking like, hey, man, I'm in these big D1 stadiums. Things are going cool. I'm with my buddies. Life is great. But damn it, I want to play, right? I want to get on that field and show what I can really do. And so walk me through that process as far as just going to Oklahoma from Houston, Texas. You go all the way up to Edmond, Oklahoma, which is a nice area. I lived there, stayed in the dorm, stayed at cheer. It was cool. How was that recruiting process to where you got to where you are now?
So when I was in high school, I got recruited by UCO a little bit. And when I was young, I actually lived in Midwest City for 6 years. My dad was the head football coach there.
Wow, I grew up in Midwest City, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
look at that.
So, growing up, I have family in Edmond.
Okay.
It wasn't just like foreign to me. I was familiar with the area for sure. But getting recruited by them, they called me pretty early on when I entered the portal. And I kind of figured, this was going to be, if they offered me, it was going to be one of the places I would highly consider. And that decision was made within a week of entering the portal, really. I made it pretty fast. I visited here in high school. I love the campus, love the facility. I love Edmond. And I knew, Coach Dorrell has won 3 national championships at the Division II level.
Yep.
And I figured, he knows what he's doing. So I thought it'd just be a great place to come to, and it's worked out really well.
I love to hear it, man. Edmond's a great place. And so being a hometown kid, you just gravitated towards that area. It's crazy how you got the familiar ties to Midwest City. Was it Carl Albert or the Midwest City Bombers that he coached?
Midwest City Bombers.
Wow. That's a small world, Tim, let me tell you.
How about that?
Yeah, so obviously you're making this adjustment, right? And it's a big transition for you, though you feel comfortable, you feel confident with the coach. What did you focus on in between that freshman and sophomore year to reach your level of performance in year one?
It was really a process. My redshirt freshman year, last fall at Houston, I was just kind of going through the motions a little bit. I knew I wasn't going to play. I knew I was leaving. But the first step was really finding the drive and the motivation again, to be great. Just because when you're not in the mix, it's easy to lose focus, lose sight of what you're trying to accomplish. So that last winter, I really had to, think a lot about what I wanted this year to look like and what I needed to do, what I needed to change to be able to achieve those goals. And to be honest, the first part was I had to lose some weight. I mean, it sounds kind of funny, but I was getting a little heavy. I couldn't move very, very well. And it's always been a big part of my game. So, I had to lose weight. I had to, get strong again and just get more in shape before I even stepped on the field. That way, when I went to practice, I wasn't going to go halfway through practice and just be too tired to finish. So it was like finding motivation to work hard, to be great again. And it definitely took some time, and that's before we even started spring football. But going into spring football, the one thing I wanted to, I wouldn't even say really work on, but I just wanted to prove to myself that I can play. It had been It had been
Right.
2 full years before I really took like meaningful snaps again. And I wanted to just show myself, I still got it. I can still compete at a high level. I can still make plays. So that was really what I was focused on before I even thought about, being able to be the quarterback here, the starting quarterback, and lead a great offense. I just wanted to show myself that, I can do this, and it definitely took some time.
I love it, man. I mean, it's all about the journey. It's about the journey. And so, you're going through tough times showing that you can play and develop, but you happen to have some chemistry with a lot of guys around you, right? You got a great offense. You got a top 10 rusher. You have, T. Davis, who's up for the Harlan Hill now. In backstory, I heard he would start playing his senior year at Choctaw. I got a couple buddies that he used to coach, and I'm like, this is your first year, and you're already the #1 receiver in the country. So you also got Schumann, you got Delso, 2 guys that are, almost 1,000-yard guys, and you got another guy who's a cowbell. So how have that tandem, how has that elevated your game? I know that's made it a little bit easier for you, right? Don't feel like you got to put everything on your shoulders.
Yeah, no doubt. And it all started, when I got here. We put in so much work, just extra time, really, perfecting routes and knowing where we need to be and whatnot. But having those guys on the field, and, anytime any of them touch the ball, it could turn into a big play. And that makes me feel like I don't have to do anything special, anything more than I need to do. I just need to put the ball in their area, and, we're going to be successful. And so that's really nice knowing whoever's on the field has the ability to make a big play.
Right. That's great to hear. I mean, offensive chemistry is extremely important. I remember going back with Gallimore and Kendrick Higgins and, Von Tunglin and throwing in the snow, when we had conditioning. I mean, it's very important. Guys used to set up, 7-on-7 in the summers, just players only. So it seems like you guys are doing all the right things. Continue that, because you guys are very young and talented. And right now, you're ranked amongst the top teams in D2. What do you think what do you think about this team that sets you guys apart to make this run?
I think we're just really close. We spend so much time together outside of football. And,
I love that. Yeah.
At a big school, you don't always get that.
Right.
Obviously, there's guys from all walks of life. But here, everybody has such a similar goal.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it so much easier to just really be close. And, Coach Doral made that an emphasis at the beginning of the spring. And we really took it to heart. And I think it shows, every Saturday. Everybody believes in each other. And with how much time we spent together, it's just a big trust thing. And so we don't start going back and forth at each other when, we're down late in the fourth. It's just like, we've been here before. We trust each other.
Test it. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's helped us a lot this year.
Okay. Well, man, you guys play Ferris State again. It's going to be on ESPN as well, correct?
Yes, ESPN.
Nice. What time?
At noon on Saturday.
Ooh.
Noon
I'm
Saturday.
ready, man. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. Is it going to be snowing? It's in Michigan, right?
I think it's going to snow the night
Michigan?
before.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That does not sound like fun. I can tell you, being from Chicago, it's going to be very, very cold. Bring layers. Do not, bring layers. Some hand warmers are going to be important for you. It's going to be a cold, cold night, I can promise you.
Right.
No, we're prepared for the cold. We want to go up there and have some fun, though. It's playoff football.
Absolutely.
I haven't gotten to see you play. I'm gonna tune in on Saturday. I don't have. I'm gonna be on the golf course with Brandon. We're gonna be watching the game on the iPad during the round.
I'll watch you, man.
Hey, I want to know a 2-part question, really. Number one, who's the quarterback you looked up to growing up that you kind of emulated your game or wanted to be? And then number two, who in the NFL currently would you say that your game most mirrors?
I think I kind of have the same answer for both. When I was in middle school, I was an OU fan growing up, so Baker was the guy coming in. I watched a lot of Matt Castle when I was a kid.
Chiefs.
Just Chiefs. He wasn't, the best ever. Just saw him on TV the most, but I really got into Baker. I just love he's an undersized guy, and I just love the fire he plays with, and he's he just brings so much juice and energy, and he's a great player. And if I want to play like anybody, I want to play like him. Even though I'm a Chiefs fan,
man.
It'd be awesome to play like Mahomes, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm going to go do the things he does on the field.
Sure.
But Baker's the guy. He's the real deal.
And we're big, especially
big Baker
me.
fans
We're
out
big
here,
Baker
man.
Mayfield fans on this show.
Yeah.
I've seen Baker play live a few times. You seem really laid back. Baker Mayfield would never be this chill on an interview. So I got to see, is there a switch that you flip come game time and you become a different guy?
I try to keep it pretty calm for the most part, because I never want somebody to see something that they would think differently of me.
Okay.
But there's definitely some times
Fire.
where I can get real fired up after a touchdown or something, but then I try to bring it back down to earth.
Okay.
Just being modest, I watched him play live, and he had that grit. And I told you, he reminded me of Baker.
I did, and I love the poise that you're showing and everything that Brandon said. Look, you grew up in the shadow of Texas A&M, right? And you guys got some big-time quarterbacks coming through there. You sign at Houston. Things don't quite go your way. You don't tuck tail. You get strong. You learn for a year. You take in that experience. And now look what you've done. I mean, 340 yards per game, 38 touchdowns. You're about to go up to Michigan in the freezing cold and play on ESPN and whoop some booty up there. We're excited to watch that. I did not wear this on purpose for you today. I just happened to wear Patrick Mahomes' jersey, and you happen to be a KC fan. I have a closet full of jerseys, so I'm really a Cowboys and a Bears fan. But today it's all about Patrick, and so it's good that we had you on there for that. Baker Mayfield, listen, if you watch this weekend, Baker hands off the ball and then sprints down the field to block a safety. Is that you? Are you going down to take the head off the safety to get your running back some yards?
I saw that, and I've never done it, but it kind of made me want to try.
Love that.
So we'll see if I take a page out of his book.
Gotta love the QBs with linebacker personalities. I love
that. I love it. We're going to be rooting for you. Number 2. Listen, this is a huge weekend for you, so enjoy it. Jett Huff, record-setting quarterback. I love the fact that you're younger, better looking, and more talented than Brandon Newey. You broke all of his records. That's outstanding, and I'm just giving Brandon crap because he's younger, better looking, and more talented than me. So I had to find somebody.
So let me ask you this, man. Despite having this crazy season, and I know you're probably like, what in the world is going on? Right? It's a different experience. So moving forward, and not trying to think so far in the future, but you've got to have this in mind. What are some of the goals that you have as far as development as a quarterback in the coming seasons? Because you're a young kid, man, and the future's now. And so, what as far as just, what areas are you trying to improve on the most?
I definitely need to be better running the ball. I think I've done a decent job scrambling and throwing, but there's opportunities this year I've scrambled, and I just don't have a big play ability. I've never been that fast, but I think that would help put more pressure on defense. But I really try not to think about what can I do specifically. I just think how can I make myself better for the offense just in general? And, the better we are as an offense, the better we are as a team. So I've never been a big personal goal guy.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you want to get bigger, faster, stronger, throw the ball farther, harder, more accurate. Sure. That's all things, you can work on. But, the big goal is conference championship, national championship. So I try to stay away from really personal goals. The only goal really is to win.
Just win, baby.
That's
Well,
it.
man, we love it, man, and we appreciate you coming on. It's especially from one UCO quarterback to another, man. I love to see you have your success and just continue to be that team guy, team first. And I've always said to quarterbacks, you go as they go as you go, and so you're doing a phenomenal job. Just stay the course, man. And we're looking forward to having you back on soon. Also, man, in the off season, an opportunity for us to connect. And so I'm definitely looking forward to that, man.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you come on down. We'll get you in the film room. We'll see what you're looking at.
Yes, put
Oh,
me
yeah.
on the big-
We'll see
put me
where
on
the
whiteboard.
improvement needs to be. But hey, best of luck to you this weekend. Thanks so much for taking time out of the film room and studies to come out here and spend some time with us. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to watching you kick some butt on Saturday.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having
Roll
me on.
shows, baby.
Roll
See ya.
shows.
Have a
Yes,
great
sir.
weekend.
Thank
You
you.
too, man.
Well, man, that was so exciting, Brandon. Thank you for setting that up and bringing your guy on the show. I've got some dogs walking around in the background now. It is a
Awesome.
family affair here at the Smith House, but
Thanksgiving week, baby.
that was fantastic. Wow, UCO on the road to Michigan this weekend.
Let's go, baby.
ESPN at noon. You can't miss it. Now, while we're talking about college football, we got some stuff to talk about. I don't want to play this up because I don't want to play into the narrative as part of media, quote unquote, that we don't like Colorado. We love Colorado. We wanted
Love 'em.
Colorado to come to AT&T and play in the Big 12 championship, but they went down to unranked Kansas. What happened to Colorado? Were they looking ahead?
No, I just think they ran into a buzzsaw. And
Oh.
that Kansas team has been pretty good for a few years now, right? Remember last year, they were pretty solid. This year, they were the first unranked team to beat 3 straight ranked teams. And so when you look at that, they have nothing to lose but everything to gain, right? They're throwing the kitchen book at you. They rush for over 300-plus yards. Neal looks like an absolute monster of an NFL running back. He looked phenomenal. But I also think, man, you keep Shador off the field. They didn't really have a lot of opportunity. They only had 2 possessions in the first quarter. I think it was 4 total in the first half. So it's unfortunate for Colorado. They're trending still. I mean, they could have an opportunity. It's just some teams got to fall, and things got to fall in their place. So
I guess we'll see. What happens. Colorado, though, going down to Kansas, not a good look for them. And I'll tell you one thing I did not like about that game was some of the dirty hits from Kansas on Shador and the lack of penalties that were thrown after said dirty hits. It was a pretty nasty game from Kansas standpoint. How about this? And I know you had to love this. This was my favorite part of the weekend. Alabama going down.
Woo, Boomer!
Ranked Oklahoma.
Boomer! Dun, 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 dun. What happened to Tim? What happened to Tim?
Tim's right here.
I guess he went out.
Tim's right here. I got dog
Tim's
problems
right there.
currently.
Tim's
We
right there.
got
Let's hear
issues.
that song. Dun, 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 dun. That was awesome.
Bro, I tell you what,
That was awesome.
it is Tuesday morning, and Milroe just threw another interception to Oklahoma. That's how bad it got for Alabama.
Bad.
It was really bad. I don't want to hear any more about Milroe being the perfect guy, being an NFL guy. He's not even as good as Jalen Hurts. He might want to really consider going to tailback because he's a big dude and he can run.
Come on, man.
Bro, he
Come
cannot.
on.
He
We've
can
seen
throw a football.
quarterbacks.
He can
He
throw
can
a
throw the
football.
football.
He can throw
Ah.
it. Anybody can throw a football. He can do that. Can he
Now,
throw it to his receivers on time within the scale of an offense? I haven't seen it.
statistically, this is his worst game ever. Everybody's
Understood.
allowed to have a stinker. But
Okay.
he's still completing 65% of his passes, Tim. He's still operating the offense.
Okay.
He's just got to get better, man. That's all it is. Milroe
He's
right
gotta get
now
a
is a
lot better.
junior. Should he probably stay another year? Yeah, he should. Right? I mean, you're going to go through this, right? You're going to go through the growing pains. But let's not act like this guy's just killing just everything. Every game, he's just absolutely awful. I mean, he hasn't thrown a pick since October of October 19th, and then he lays a stinker. Right? He lays a stinker. Okay, it happens. Let's figure out a way to regroup. The thing with Alabama is they're not disciplined. And when you're an undisciplined team, bad things can happen. I mean, OU didn't even throw 400 yards, dude. Didn't throw 400 yards.
Yeah, I've always said that I've always thought Nick Saban to me was always a great recruiter, a great motivator. People put him as, the best coach of all time because of what Alabama has done. I will say this. I never bought into him being like an X and O guy or anything like that until recently when I hear him on the shows and you can hear it coming out of him. But what I will say is Alabama looks like a shell of themselves without him on the sideline.
Yes.
And now
makes you
now
appreciate
I can
it
buy
more.
in. Now I can appreciate the Nick
Absolutely.
Saban effect. Not too dissimilar from what's happening in New England without Bill Belichick. So
Right.
completely understand and feel like Nick Saban. At least I underrated him. Is he the best ever? I'm not going to go down that road, but. Certainly Alabama doesn't look like Alabama without him on the sideline. Number 12, Boise State escapes Wyoming barely. Do you buy into anything there? Is Boise State a real contender, or do they have a weak schedule with a really good running back? I don't know if they're a contender, honestly.
It's I don't think they're a contender per se, though they did compete with Oregon to a degree from a rushing standpoint. But I think it's just all about Ashton Genty and what he's doing. I mean, the guy runs for 169 yards. I mean, he's got over 2,000 yards already for the season. He has an opportunity to break Barry's record. I think everyone wants to see that. And so this is, as long as they continue this run, they could have the chance to leak in.
Okay, fair enough. Here's the team that I want to see get in.
It's just one of the Cinderella stories you don't ever hear, you don't ever see, and you want to see it. So we're all rooting for that.
I gotta let my dog out.
But yeah, man, I mean, you act like Boise right now is just powerhouse in it.
I'm not a believer in.
I mean,
Boise
they're
State.
7-0 in their conference. They're 10-1. I mean, they're doing what they need to do to win. But it's just, hey, just win out your conference and you got a chance.
What about this?
It's kind of
team?
where it is.
I think this team is number 13. They're right
12.
here in Dallas. SMU 10-1. Can they sneak
Got a lot of
in?
DFW boys are cooking.
Can SMU sneak into this thing?
They're going to. They're going to beat Miami. They're going to beat
Gotta
Miami.
beat Miami. They're gonna have to beat Miami.
They're going to beat Miami.
Wow. Where
They're
is
gonna
that
beat
game?
Miami.
Where is that game going to be played?
It's probably going to be played in Miami.
I want to go to that game.
Maybe.
Not
I don't
in
know.
Miami.
Maybe it's at SMU, but I know Jennings right now, the former South Oak Cliff quarterback, is absolute shining right now.
Yeah.
And so shout out to those guys and what they're doing. Shout out to Jonathan McGill, one of Bernard's athletes, man, from Coppell. I mean, you got a lot of DFW kids really putting on, and you see these guys as kids, and now they're here, and it's just like, wow. That's good to see.
Yeah.
They all came from a lot of powerful youth teams and played, against each other in high school, and now it looks like they're gravitating towards that. And so, Kevin Jennings is leading that thing as a sophomore, man. He's got over 2,000 yards. He's got 17 TDs, only 7 picks, which is really good for his first year, keeping that touchdown interception ratio. And they're battle tested. I mean, they won some close games.
Yeah.
They won the ugly way and they won the blowout way. So
their uniform game has been quite strong this year as well.
Oh, they're sick.
Man, I'm loving SMU. I hope they continue to do great.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
Love
a
to see
team
it.
that I don't wish for good things to happen to ever,
Uh-oh.
and glad this happened. Texas A&M goes down to unranked Auburn. Week before Auburn gets to play Alabama on Saturday. That's going to be a fun game. But Texas A&M going down to Auburn, man. What do you make from that? I mean,
That
these
was
teams
crazy.
losing to unranked teams is a little crazy this year.
It's crazy, man. And when you get it's college football at the end of the day. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we love about college football because
Love college football.
what if it happens? And it did.
Right.
And so, as of right now, A&M versus Texas, that matchup looks really strong because
that's going to be a great
A&M
game
is
for
desperate
Texas.
for a win. Wouldn't this get them a win? Would get them into the SEC title game?
And I think that game's on Friday, by the way.
Friday night.
I'm not sure if that's the case or not. I know Texas. You mean Texas wins that game? They're in the SEC title game. Is that what you mean? Not Texas.
I thought it went both ways.
I'm not sure.
I'm not
really
sure.
Not up to date on
because
the SEC.
that's A&M's only loss in the SEC.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward.
So it leads into it. Like if they win, I think they're in. But this is the first matchup in 12 years. I know we're all excited about it.
Who isn't excited to see this game? This game
This is going to be a really good game. This is going to be a really good game. They got great athletes.
The game that we would watch on Thursday night while we were eating our dessert after Thanksgiving dinner, right? This was the game that came on at 7 o'clock Thanksgiving night. Everybody tuned in to watch it, at least here in the area. Now we don't get to watch it anymore. All of a sudden, it's gone. And now Friday, it's back. And then Auburn, I think, has a really good chance to beat Alabama. Alabama, with 3 losses, has to be out of the playoffs, no question. And Auburn has a chance to really smack Hey, how about this, folks? We have a 12-team playoff without Alabama. It's amazing. College football hates it.
Not good.
College football hates it. The networks hate it. Tim Smith loves it because he hates Alabama. So there you go. And then here's one last story. Another unranked team, unranked Florida.
They keep doing this.
Jackson Dart, who we've been raving about on this show. I was actually excited, Brandon, watching earlier in the game. I was like, I can't wait to get on and talk about Jackson Dart. And then the man goes to throw 3 interceptions in a minute. How does that happen?
I don't know. Sometimes it happens, man.
It was pretty ugly.
He only threw 3. I think he threw 2 picks. I think
it was 3. One of them got called incomplete, but it was he threw an interception, right? They had 3 timeouts left. They called their 3 timeouts. They got the ball back. His first pass gets dropped by a Florida defender, but they had to review it because they called it an interception. Then they reviewed it. They overturned it. Then his next pass is yet another interception. It was not a good, and this happened in a minute.
No bueno.
So you can't do it. You can't do it.
And there is another top 10 team gone. I love this college, the craziness of it.
And I love that all these teams, it used to be just the 4, now 12 matter, right? And we're watching to see these spoilers and upsets. Who's going to sneak in? Who's going to go from 13 down to 11 SMU after this week when you get a big win? Now, to me, Jackson Dart, 3 interceptions inside of a minute, losing to unranked Florida in a game you absolutely had to win. I feel like that takes you out of Heisman consideration. You were talked about. Yes. You were in consideration.
I don't even think he was in consideration.
Now, he was. I mean, they talked about it on the pregame. I think he was, part of the 4 or 5 that they have up there. But look, there's one guy to me. There's one guy to me. There's 2 to you. There's 1 to me. Travis Hunter, no question. I don't even care if they lost to Kansas. It's not on him. He is the best player in college football to me, going both ways, scoring touchdowns, intercepting, making big hits, doing all the things.
Great player.
But I know that you like Ashton Jeanty as well. What do you think is going to separate the 2 of them?
I think it's Travis's to lose at this point. But if Jeanty breaks the record, that's a 40-year record, dog.
Understood. But Genty's not going and playing free safety when
I get it. But also, Jeanty had over 200 yards against Oregon, who's ranked nationally number 1.
Okay.
It's kind of
Have you watched the highlights? Have you watched Jeanty play?
Yeah.
He's legit, you noticed? Man. I'm going to say that yes, he's a very good running back.
Are they force feeding him? Probably.
Not that anybody could do what he's doing. And yes, they are force feeding him, but look at the plays. If you watch closely, most of the highlights, he's 8, 9, 10 yards before he's even getting touched. The holes are massive. He's got great vision and great speed. But Boise State's O-line has a lot to do with what he's doing. And I want to make sure that doesn't get overlooked.
Yeah. Listen, the Hogs
he's
deserve
not
the
Barry
love.
Sanders. Barry Sanders, when he broke the record, was back there making 3 guys miss in the backfield and then taking off for 40, 50 yards, right? Genty's not doing that. He's getting the ball. He's running through wide open holes. and he's extremely talented. But let's not pretend like he's Barry Sanders just because the numbers look similar, because he's not.
He's a really good running back. We're not.
He's not Barry
The
Sanders.
only person I've ever seen that's like comparable to Barry is Reggie Bush or LaShawn McCoy.
LaShawn McCoy, I'll give you, yeah.
I mean,
Bush
but I'm
was that
saying
guy in
those college guys, like, yeah, I mean, those guys were just on different planets.
We never saw that. I wish we would have. I never feel like we, outside of a couple of games, maybe a couple plays, we never really saw that Reggie Bush in the NFL that we saw in college. Like, we never saw superhuman Reggie Bush.
Well, I think you see a Reggie Bush style now with some of these backs, and imagine if you had that Reggie Bush in the NFL today.
Yeah, with the wide open.
With him going out and motioning, I think he was a little bit before his time. And so, man, he would absolutely dominate. He would be a fantasy king.
I love me some Reggie Bush.
Yeah, Reggie got a ring. He had a good career. I think Bush. Nobody's gonna say it was bad.
True.
He did his thing.
Right. Well, let's go on, and we've got a little bit to talk about because sadly, a couple weeks ago we kind of put the death stone on the Cowboys season, and now this week we have to say goodbye to the 49ers season because, my friend, it's a wrap. I hate to say that. I know that hurts your feelings. I don't even know how many players that you have out, man. It was a disaster.
Music, oh,
you were going to lose to Green Bay. You just didn't have the tools to go in there and win that game. Talk about it. Give us your 49er season recap.
So you're already saying the season's
in week 12.
Well,
God.
What the analytics say, it's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
It's not over yet. But to me, this shit is over. It's a wrap. Injuries have killed us. Tim, quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, receivers, D-line, linebackers, DBs, punter, and kicker have all been on the injury list. Purdy's week to week with the shoulder. Bosa, Kittle, they're week to week. Seems like the only person who's trying to play his heart out is Fred. It's unfortunate. Fred and Kittle. Back-to-back losses, man. We're about to have a third. It's over. And I think right now, the game, because we had a bye week, right? And I didn't even want to talk about this, but we would be 8-2 right now. And I say we, let's say they. They would be 8-2 right now if they didn't blow the leads. Each of our losses outside of this one and the Chiefs, we have led into the fourth quarter under 7 minutes left.
Okay.
By 10.
So whose fault is that?
It's pretty bad. Now, the Rams lost. Great. Seahawks picked up a W. We needed that. Cardinals lost, right? So there's a way by calculations to get in the playoffs, but I just think right now, man, I look at CMC coming back. He is clearly not game ready. He lacks explosiveness.
Why not sit him? Why not sit him at this point?
Disappears because Kyle Shanahan is a narcissist.
You don't play CMC right now.
Know how to make adjustments. Huh?
I don't think CMC should be playing with the season in the tank with the injury that he could have. You know what I mean?
The season isn't in the tank by calculations. There's still a way to get in the playoffs.
How long is Brock Purdy out?
I think he's out again this week.
That's another loss. Is he out after this? Is he out again? Because you don't have anybody that can play.
We have one. The Pastronaut. Josh Dobbs.
Now, Josh Dobbs is back?
Josh Dobbs is back, but Brandon Allen is still starting. Why? I don't know. He hasn't started in 3 years. He looked decent, but he had a broken finger on the other hand. Now, why would you start a guy? Help me understand this. Help me understand this. Like, who did you run by as far as the executives to make that decision? Like, hey, we're going to start a guy that hasn't started in 3 years. By the way, he has a broken finger on his throwing or opposite hand. And he's going into Green Bay Lambeau Field where it's 40, 30 degrees. But we have this guy over here that has actually have game experience. In fact, he almost beat us last year, and he went to another team and won in that. So I'm just, help me understand, Kyle. What are we doing, Kyle? That's Kyle Shanahan for you. I call him Banana Hand. So, I also think this. That Trey Lance draft killed us, man. And it's not to say take the player. I get it. He only started 4 games. But we lack depth. You gave away 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
That set us back 3 years, man. And now you look at it, one guy goes out. All of a sudden, we don't have a D-line. All of a sudden, we don't have linebackers outside of Fred Warner. All of a sudden, we don't have a secondary now because we have 2 that are hurt. And another one that, unfortunately, family situation, which we can understand that. But outside of that, man, we lack depth. And I personally feel it's rebuild mode. Now, how do you rebuild that? You franchise tag Brock. You do not give Brock $60 million right now. Do not do it. Because if you do it, it's a wrap. It's really a wrap. You can save some money in the back end. Get him a right tackle. Let's mix in these backs. Get rid of Ayuk's contract if we can. Trade away Debo. Trade away Bosa. Get some picks if you can. And rebuild it back that way. Could we make a run? Yes. But right now, it is, I hate to watch it because it's just
you're willing
coaching.
to let go of Bosa?
Oh,
I
yeah.
get the Debo thing,
Oh, yeah.
but you're willing to let go of Bosa?
See ya. Yep.
Who's
absolutely.
who's another pass rusher on the 49ers that can take his place?
We'll
Can't
find
win without
one
a
in the
pass
draft.
rush.
We'll find one in the draft.
Oh,
Bosa's a one-move guy, bro. He doesn't have the second move. He doesn't bend well. He's a pusher. He just bull rushes. That's what he does. He bull rushes.
Okay.
He's not one of these elite benders. Like, we need to find a guy who has...
Sounds like you're ready to clean house in San Francisco.
Oh, I'm ready to clean house. Debo, we don't utilize Debo well. I'm not saying they're bad players. It's just right now we need more fresh talent. We need depth. We don't need all these older superstars. We need depth because now we're getting crushed because of the lack of depth.
Yeah, your window certainly looks like it.
It's like
shrunk.
this. It's like this. Once Josh Allen gets a hold of us, it's gonna fall.
It's
It's
not
gonna fall
be,
because
it's not gonna be fun.
we don't look good, man. Kyle needs to give up calling plays, get a passing coordinator, get an offensive coordinator, something. Focus on the attention to details, such as special teams, such as tackling, such as game time adjustments, such as clock management. Like, he fails to do that. He'll sit by himself with his play sheet and just look. I even remember at a time, now granted he's an NFL coach, you were engaged with players. He's not engaged with players. He's just not. He's only worried about the offense, and that's key, man. If he's going to be a head coach, relieve yourself of some of those duties, man, and focus on what's important. Let a young cat come in here and really work the pieces.
Yeah.
And that's my spiel.
All right. Fair enough.
All right.
Feel better?
I do.
I like it. I'm enjoying your misery. Meanwhile, the Cowboys got.
I'm going to enjoy yours right now.
There's no misery here. Cowboys beat the Washington football team, the Washington Commanders, the Washington Redskins, Foreskins, whatever you want to call them. We beat them like we always do. When the Cowboys won one game in a whole season, it was Washington that we beat. So we're never scared of Washington. The energy was up. Defense played phenomenal. Ricky Dowdle, 19 carries, 86 yards. Thought that was great. Cooper Rush was outstanding in the game. His best game yet after taking over the job. 4 sacks on Jaden Daniels. Now, I will say this. As exciting as it was to watch the Cowboys win, I really think this was more about Washington losing the game than it was about the Cowboys. The Cinderella slipper has come off of Jaden Daniels. It was dangling like he was holding on. That thing's come all the way off. Since that Hail Mary,
the offense has been exposed.
Since that Hail Mary, Jaden Daniels has not looked the same. I think it was karma. Personally, you beat the Bears with a Hail Mary, then you lose to the Cowboys on a missed extra point. That's karma, right? You do great, and then something great happens against you. It was fantastic. I love beating Washington. The Cowboys are going to get on a little win streak because they get to beat the Giants this weekend. I'll be in the building. Just decided.
Now you're going.
Well, let me tell you why we're going. Thanksgiving's a really fun day at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. There's a concert at halftime. Food is really good. The tickets right now are about 30% of what they would usually be. right? So for a ticket that's usually, and I can't do math, so that percentage could be off. But for a ticket that usually costs about $2,000, I was able to get that ticket for a little over $400. So I couldn't pass it up. My wife and I are going to go to the backup bowl on Thanksgiving. She really wanted to go. She loves going to the game. We've never sat in the lower bowl. We're on the 50-yard line right behind the Cowboys.
Nice, because you normally sit by the suite area.
We usually sit up with our friend Jack in the second level, just below where Jerry Jones sits.
Nice.
But this will be fun. We've never been to lower bowl. Spend some time at the Miller Lite Club. Do all the things and just enjoy it. Nice. Fun, we don't have any family to hang out with on Thanksgiving here. So, but yeah, I loved it. Right. And hey, NFL, keep kicking Turpin the ball if you want to. Keep kicking Turpin the ball.
That was phenomenal, man.
I appreciate it. How about the spin move? The whoop, the spin move and touchdown Cowboys. Oh. So that's what we like to see. So anyway,
the Giants beat y'all, man. That'll be hilarious.
It's not going to happen. Tommy DeVito.
I did pick the Dallas Cowboy defense for my fantasy, so I really hope y'all turn up.
Micah Parsons.
I hope y'all turn up against the Giants.
Micah Parsons is going to have a feast on Thursday.
Yeah, I hope y'all turn up against the Giants. I need it.
Let's get into this rookie watch. Things have changed in the last couple of weeks, Brandon. We had a clear rookie of the year candidate. Now, I think that's changed. Personally, I think Bo Nix. My opinion is that Bo Nix is now the front runner for rookie of the year if we're talking quarterbacks. He has certainly turned a corner and has proven me wrong. I didn't think he was anything all that special. I was a little underwhelmed by him, but the last few weeks, in that team up with Sean Payton, he's been pretty amazing. Would you say yes to that as well?
Absolutely. I think the relationship between him and Sean Payton is definitely paramount to that success. Especially an older guy. Now, he's not that old, guys. Like, I think people, he's like a 30-year-old rookie. I mean, he's not. He's 24, okay? I mean, he's still going to go through his growing pains, but I think what we're seeing out of Bo Nix is a lot of grit, resilience. He's got a lot of his skill set is very broad. Like, he can do things that you didn't think he could do, but he can. And so I think he's getting more confident. He's slicing and dicing. And although it's not putting up Drew Brees numbers, you like to see this start from the rookie, right? This is a very good start. And, I think right now, he struggled a little bit, the last game, 59% completion. But he also he's coming off of 84% completion, 4 TDs and no picks in Atlanta. Against Atlanta. And I think that's very impressive, man. He's put up numerous 100-yard passer rating games. He's a rookie that's constantly elevating his game week by week. And I think with the teams that he's facing right now, I think you're going to see an opportunity for him to really take this rookie of the year by storm, because he's going up against a lot of bad defenses. And so, unfortunately, Jaden Daniels, not to say he's been doing bad. Has he regressed a little bit? Maybe they've caught on to the offense a little bit. The kid doesn't really turn the ball over outside of a few times. I just don't think he has the numbers to, as far as push for that. But it's not to say he hasn't done good things. I mean, right now he's 11th. I mean, he's got 12 touchdowns to 5. Bo Nix 16 to 6. I mean, it's a tight race. They both got 2,600 yards.
Both started out slowly, but he's really come alive here the last couple of weeks and winning games.
It's going to be tight, to be honest. He's still completing over 68% of his passes, Tim. I mean, we've seen some regression, but not
the last
too much.
4
but
games.
Look at the teams. Yeah, I mean, but look at the teams he's going up against. He went up against Pittsburgh. He went up against Philadelphia. I mean,
he went up against the Bears and the Cowboys.
You might struggle with, right? Struggled a little bit with the Bears. Turned it back around with the Giants. And so he's going through some growing pains, just like Bo Nix went through it in the very beginning. And so it just helps that, hey, the film is out on you, right? Let's try to make adjustments and let's see, because we all know these teams are in contention for the playoffs, both of them as rookies. December football is your most important football. You've got to get hot, because the team who gets hot in December is the team who's going to run the tables.
Yeah.
And so you have opportunities for both teams to really make a run. I mean, both teams are pretty talented. The Broncos are super cap heavy. I mean, I don't know how the hell they're going to get out of that, but they're managing it to make it work. So I'm excited for both of them, but I think these two are the ones that are going to stand out. I don't think.
Well,
I don't see
there's no question. Even though Caleb Williams the last 2 weeks, I got to say, seen a lot of progress from him in 2 fourth quarters. Since the OC's been fired, Caleb Williams has looked a lot better. The offense looks a lot better. There's a lot of quick game. There's more run game. And they're doing things that Caleb likes to do, getting him on the move and things. But he's had two fourth quarter comebacks where he has essentially won the game. And then, unfortunately, I say won the game. They got to overtime this past weekend. They lose in overtime because they get the ball first and can't move it. And then, of course, they lost to Washington because of the Hail Mary. But, gosh, Caleb is looking better. And there's hope again in Chicago. Drake May, I think Drake May is going to be a superstar. I think the Patriots are a mess. He may not be a superstar with the Patriots. It may be somewhere else. Maybe the Patriots will get it together. But Drake May seems to have a lot of ability, just not a lot around him to help him shine. I think he has the least around him of any rookie out there.
Yeah. He shows some flashes. The thing is, the kid holds it together.
Yeah.
It's not like he's just completely blowing it up, right? He's trying to hold it together. Again, he's a rookie, man. All these guys, it's just they're going to go through growing pains. I think one thing that I admired about Caleb when this, back-to-back fourth quarter comebacks to put him in a position to win a game. So it shows that he has some resiliency behind him, and he rolls his sleeves up and tries to make things happen. I think with Caleb, like we attested to last year before he came into it, he's got to throw in rhythm more. He just has to. He's got to trust what he's seeing and let it go.
And he's doing better at that.
Yeah, he's doing better. He's doing better. I just think right now, man, somebody needs to offensively a new guru to get him going, because I think if you cater to that kid's skill set, he can perform at a high level.
Agreed. Well, man, that's a lot of good rookie talk as we move on to the On Fire segment. We love to talk about the quarterbacks that are simply cooking. And there was a few this week. Who do you want to put on the focus group this week, Brandon?
As far as On Fire?
Or On Fire. Who's your focused On Fire quarterbacks this week?
OTT and Mahomes, man. Tua and Mahomes.
Tua was great.
Man. Tua looks good, man. You really see just how important Tua is in that offense. That offense works. And it operates at a very high, efficient level. 317 yards, 4 TDs, no picks, routed the Patriots. And Mahomes, man, as a fantasy owner of Mahomes, it feels great to see him perform. And so you feel like he's getting more chemistry with his guys. He had, 3 TDs, no interceptions. That's what I'm focused on, because Mahomes has had a lot of interceptions this year. And so those were the two that just really stood out to me. I'd also throw Lamar in there, just not from a statistical measure, but just his efficiency, against a tough LA Chargers defense. I thought he played really well, having multiple TDs, both in the air and on the ground. So that was definitely a good win for them, but those are my 3.
Yeah, I was, touching on that game last night. I was really disappointed in the Chargers as a whole. We had, especially the Charger receivers. We had some big drops last night that could have turned into some big plays.
Won me some money.
You had the Charger defense dropping interceptions. I saw at least two, maybe three interceptions that were thrown that were dropped. That obviously changed that game. But man, the Chargers had a golden opportunity last night, I thought, and they kind of blew it. And it kind of showed me maybe they're still a year or two away from being that team that you really worry about. But Justin Herbert, I mean, you can't deny how good he's been, but he wasn't on fire last night because of some of the drops we talk about, some bad decisions as well. I'm going to add Cooper Rush to this list. He was 24 for 32, 247, 2 tutties, no interceptions. QB rating was over 100, and he got his first win of the year as a Dallas Cowboys quarterback and beat a team that we weren't supposed to beat. We weren't supposed to beat them. So I appreciate Cooper being calm. And really, like I said, I just feel something about Cooper. When Cooper's in the game, there's a different energy around the Cowboys. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but there does seem to be a different energy around Cooper Rush. So, and the offense is also very different with Cooper. The ball comes out much faster when Cooper rushes at quarterback than Dak, if you notice that. Now he takes a lot of check
I don't watch your games.
He throws a lot of underneath passes. He doesn't look to push the ball downfield like Dak does, so that's a big reason. But he does have that quick trigger. Ball's coming out. Ready or not, here it comes. Hey, we've had a lot of bad this year. Not too much bad this week, but two guys that we haven't really seen on this list a whole lot, especially one guy. Talk about your garbage juice, because you put this together. Man, who's just this weekend?
I got to say it. Our 49er quarterback, Brandon Allen.
That was expected.
He had 3 years to sit. And that's what you put on tape? Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Brock Purdy, for saving Kyle and John's job. We finally know who the operator of that offense is.
Right.
It's definitely him. But that's not his fault, man. He's in it because of multiple turnovers during crucial moments. We had an opportunity. We were down with 10 and turned the ball over back-to-back times. I had another one, C.J. Stroud. I just don't know what's going on. It's a sophomore slump, though. He's top 4 in yards. But, man, he's just turning the ball over too much. Granted, he is a little bit depleted. But I felt with the Titans, a divisional opponent, they obviously see him,
that's
twice
a team
a
you
year.
Can't lose to. Right.
Can't lose to that team.
No.
You just can't. Not in this position. And Kyler Murray, man. I mean, Call of Duty's out now. Campaign's over. It's time for a team deathmatch. And you have obviously been putting more work in team deathmatch than on the field right now, brother. Come on, man.
He was looking good till this week.
You better than that. Damn it. He was looking good last week. Come on, Kyler. Right? I believe in you.
In a game that really puts you in first place in your division,
And you lose. Thank you. We appreciate it. Even though I know we're not going to go, but we appreciate it. We appreciate you giving us an actual chance. Thank you.
All right. Well,
so you're telling me there's a chance.
No, Josh Allen's about to go to town on y'all this week.
Yeah, he's about to put the nail in the coffin. Oh.
Brandon, you talked about it, man. We are quickly in December. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, by the way.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Turkey Day.
We are quickly entering into the December, which is the last quarter of the season. We approach the playoffs. We have pretenders and contenders. Who do you think are which? Who's going to win their division and be in the playoffs? Shoot, who might play in the Super Bowl? Who you got? Who are your contenders?
Contenders for the Super Bowl on the AFC side?
Just contenders to actually, period. NFC, AFC. Who do you see in the NFL as a true contender right now?
First, I'm going to put the Chiefs because they won it.
I got the Chiefs.
I'm going to put the Bills and the Ravens. I'm going to also put the Steelers. I'm putting the Steelers in there. I'm going to say the Lions. I think it's going to come down between the Lions, the Eagles.
I think you're done. I mean, those.
Nah, because it's December, Tim, and we're so we're out of November, right? We're about to go into December.
Yes.
If one of these teams gets hot, if a Minnesota gets hot, watch out.
Watch
out. Okay. Sam's been very efficient. Sam's had one stinker all year.
I understand.
Been very efficient.
But they're in the
Watch
same
out for
division
Green Bay.
as the Lions. Also in the same division as the Lions.
Watch out for Green Bay. I'm just saying, we're not predicting the play. I'm just saying, I'm thinking of teams that could get hot.
Okay. Well, my contenders are the same as yours. Bills, Ravens, Steelers,
crazy.
Chiefs, Eagles,
we should have
Lions.
disagreed there. I would put my Niners in there, but we just don't. We don't look the same. That's not the same 8-18, 2021 that went to the NFC title game. That ain't the same team.
Let me tell you who the pretenders are. The pretenders, in my opinion, are the Commanders, the Miami Dolphins, and I hate to say this, the LA Chargers. I also hate to say this, the Cincinnati Bengals. The NFC West, the NFC South, and the AFC South. All pretenders. All of them. All of them. And NFC West might be the worst of the bunch. That's where I'm at. Those are my pretenders. Right now, if you had to ask me who's going to play in the Super Bowl in February, I'm going to say the Lions and the Chiefs. That's the easy answer. But I'm hoping that it's Lions and the Bills. I want to see the Bills sneak up in there.
I want Detroit and Baltimore.
I do not want that game. That'd be the most boring game in the history.
No, that game would be awesome. Full of just hard hitting football.
So much
real
running,
football.
So much handing off. Much handing off. Ugh.
My pretenders. I'm gonna tell you my pretenders. The Texans, the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Falcons, the Seahawks, Commanders, Cardinals, Bucks. I see Philly and Detroit, man, matching up.
Those are the only two. Those are the only two.
I see it, or between Green Bay and Minnesota. I think Green Bay can beat them all. Now they have a lot of weapons, man.
I'll tell you,
if Jordan Love can protect the ball, watch out.
You know who could sneak up in this thing, and that's only if Mike Evans comes back and starts to just be a tear. But the Buccaneers, man, Baker Mayfield is showing me something. Now, we didn't have him on fire. We didn't have him in the garbage juice. We talked about him at the top of the show.
He's a dog.
Not only does he score a touchdown and do the Tommy DeVito dance, he recovers a fumble inside the red zone that nobody saw the ball on the ground but him. Then he runs down after handing the ball off, runs 30 yards downfield, makes a block on a safety. He's just insane. And we're not seeing any other quarterback in the NFL play football the way Baker Mayfield plays football.
He's got that linebacker mentality.
If he had more around, if he didn't lose all his weapons during the year, the Buccaneers, I feel like, would have been fine. They would have been leading that division by far.
I think so, too.
Do they have a shot mathematically? Probably. But realistically, with the injuries that they have, man, injuries have really killed them this year, as they have the 49ers, as they have the Dallas Cowboys. Injuries in the NFL are just the root of all evil. And so I feel really bad for Baker Mayfield, but I wanted to talk about him because the grit and the way that he's playing football, he's so much joy, right? It's how you used to play when you were a kid. Like, you hand off to you get the huddle going in the park, and you hey, Jimmy, I'm going to hand the ball off to you, just run. You hand the ball off to Jimmy, and you're like, I'm going to run with you, Jimmy. Let's go. Whoa. You don't do that in real football.
You know who his favorite player is, right?
What's that?
It's Brett Favre. Brett Favre is his favorite player. So
Baker's a throwback.
It's a Brett Favre kind of guy. Like, he's just one of the guys, right? Yeah. And I mean, he's got a linebacker's mentality, man. Like Jett would even saying early on the show, man, grow up watching, Oklahoma. Obviously, I'm a little older than Bake, but man, I just love the passion he plays with. He plays with the chip on his shoulder. He's resilient. You always know you can count on him. He's going to give you his last leg every time. He's going to sell out every time. And so that's what you want in a quarterback. He's not afraid to get hit. I mean, he's just a grimy player. I mean, if you don't like Baker Mayfield, you don't like football.
Comeback
that's how I look at it. Like, he's football to me. Like, that's football.
Comeback player of the year?
He plays good. No, because he didn't get hurt.
I know.
So I think the comeback player of the year is probably going to go to either Sam Darnold or J.K. Dobbins. I think those are the two comeback player of the years.
What about Saquon
J.K. Dobbins he had 3 straight season-ending surgeries. Okay. And now he's resurrected his career. His brother shipped him over, gave him to Jim, and Jim's rolling with him. And he's having success.
He got hurt again last night. Did J.K.
He got hurt?
Yeah. He did.
Don't tell me that.
He did. Like, I don't know how bad, but he was very tenderly walking off the field into the locker room before the half.
Damn it. All right, well, still doing a great job, JP.
We got a month left. Let's go to our season awards. First up, of course, MVP. I'm going to preface this by once again making sure everybody understands that the MVP is voted on by the AP Press. Is currently, for the last several years, been given to the quarterback on the best team in the league, perceived by the media. So I'm not sure how much credence, at least personally, I give the MVP. But here are your nominees, according to Brandon Newey and Tim Smith: Saquon Barkley, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, and I don't know why this name is on here, but Brandon Newey put Jalen Hurts on here. I don't know why. I have no idea why that name is on this list. His name should not be on
Jalen's
this
accounted
list.
for over 25 total touchdowns. That is why, Tim.
No, I don't care about
that. Is why, Tim. He's counted over 25 touchdowns total.
You missed somebody who is Derrick Henry. You've missed Derrick Henry on this list. Derrick Henry needs to be on this list as well as an MVP probability. I think
he leads the league in touchdowns.
In my opinion, it comes down to Saquon Barkley, Josh Allen, or Derrick Henry.
In my opinion, it comes down to Saquon, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen.
Oh, you said Josh Allen.
And the front runner of MVP for me right now is still Lamar Jackson, who leads the league not only in touchdowns, not only in yards, but also touchdown interception ratio.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Well,
as I predicted.
Yeah, like I said.
I mean, you can go to
Josh Allen does more.
Tim.
Josh Allen has to do more for the Bills than Lamar Jackson has to do for the Ravens. Saquon Barkley is the reason that the Eagles are who they are right now, offensively, in my opinion.
I think it's a complimentary of both.
Saquon Barkley is a different type of human. Hey, here's my thing.
He's amazing.
Hey, I hope the AP listens to this. I'm sure they don't.
Give it to the running back.
To give some credibility back to your MVP award, give it to the best player in the league. Give it to Saquon.
Lamar Jackson.
Give it to Saquon Barkley.
Lamar Jackson.
Tired of seeing the quarterback.
Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback and best football player in the NFL.
Lamar Jackson was Derrick Henry.
Lamar is the best quarterback in the NFL.
Derrick Henry is the reason Lamar. No, he's not.
Yes, he is, Tim.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Nope. No, he's not.
If you look statistically, he is crushing everybody.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is making all that possible.
I mean, that's nice. It's good to have a running back, but they've led the league in rushing ever since before Derrick Henry even went there. So what's the difference?
They always run the ball extremely well in Baltimore.
Yeah, they're number one. So just installing Godzilla, I mean, just added more fuel to the fire, but it's also created an opportunity for Lamar to really showcase his passing ability, which we've all known. And so now you're really seeing it instead of just saying he's just a special athlete. This guy is turning out statistically as the number one quarterback in the NFL.
He should have had 3 interceptions last night, but the Chargers couldn't catch him.
He has 27 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, Tim. He's completing over 67% of his passes.
I'm telling you,
thrown
3 interceptions bounced off players' chests last night. 3.
What is your deal with this guy?
How do you not catch the ball when he throws it right to you? He threw it right to the defenders.
Same thing when Josh Allen screws up and throws a bad error pass and it gets dropped. We've seen it a million times, but do you ever criticize him? Hell no.
Yes, I always criticize.
No, you don't.
I criticize everybody. What are you talking about?
Man, we got film on this now. We can go back. Listen.
I'm not buying into what you're saying that Lamar's the best.
Freaking Jackson.
Because there's
one
quarterback
in the NFL right now.
There is? Really? Because there's only one quarterback that's playing currently that has multiple Super Bowl wins.
I said right now. I said right now. In this moment in time. We're not worried about 2003 and down. We're worried about right now.
Mahomes has lost one game with a skeleton crew.
And the hottest quarterback in the league is Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Well, talk to me in January when the Ravens get knocked out of the playoffs. How good he is. Let's talk about it then. Because that's what happens every year.
It doesn't matter if he gets knocked out in the playoffs, Tim. He's still amazing.
That's fine.
Tim, if you
know
look
who
at
else
these
is like that? Dak Prescott's amazing in the regular season. And then can't
Dak
play
ain't putting up them numbers. Dak's not putting up them numbers.
Lamar Jackson gets a case of the Dak Prescotts in the playoffs. That's all I know.
Look,
so it's not good.
I mean, just think about it, man. I mean, you look at Josh Allen right now. He's doing good, 64%, 18-5, 2,500 yards. I mean, if you were to look at Lamar Jackson's stats, take off the name, you would say, man, that is a very efficient, high-level player.
Lamar Jackson is awesome. He's not the best in the league.
He's the best right now. Right now.
Awesome. He's awesome.
Right now. November 26th. He is the best quarterback right now.
You know what drives me nuts about this? And I almost texted you and Sean this last night. I think it was somewhere midway through the second quarter. Lamar had 2 completions for like 8 yards. And then all of a sudden, the dam opened up. But he was like 2 of 12 at one point. It wasn't like it started out really bad and then all of a sudden. So I didn't say anything because the last time I said that to you guys, he was having a really bad game, and all of a sudden he went nuts.
And I don't know why.
I'm not praying on his downfall. I'm not praying.
You want Josh Allen to be the best. I get it.
I just want Josh Allen to get some respect.
He does
on the same plane as Lamar Jackson, which he's never gotten ever, and can do everything Lamar Jackson can do.
He won't because he's not as accomplished as Lamar yet.
Okay,
but you got to think, man. Lamar's already got 2 MVPs, dude.
He's got more playoff wins. I don't care about MVP. We've talked about that. He's got more playoff wins. He's beaten Patrick Mahomes, and he's going to beat Lamar in the playoffs this year. And when that happens, I want Josh Allen to get his respect. Finally.
Don't get me wrong. Josh Allen's a bad boy. That's a bad dude, man.
He is.
That's like a souped-up John Elway.
Listen, the reason I don't
that's kind of what it looks like.
The reason I don't jump
John
on
Elway,
you,
80 John Elway.
I don't jump on you. I don't jump on with you to the Lamar Jackson train of him being the GOAT, number 1, MVP, all that, because everyone's doing it. I don't want to be that
Not
guy.
everyone.
I know he's really good. There's no denying that. I know that Lamar Jackson is a bona fide top 5 quarterback in the league. There's no question there.
Top 2. Top
5. That
top
being
2.
said, in my opinion, top 5. I'm going to give him that. But just because he's throwing the ball great this year, he hasn't done what we're seeing out of him this year any other year.
Yeah,
he's had good seasons, but never like this. So,
brother, he did the same thing in 2019.
Let's see what he does in January. That's what I want to see.
I think we all want to see it. I think we all want to see it from Lamar. Josh Allen, you got to go to the Mahomes Invitational to win.
You lose to Patrick Mahomes, I don't bag on you for that. Everybody loses to that guy. But if you lose to Josh or you lose to Joe or you lose to Russell, then we got to have a different conversation. You lose to Patrick, I'm going to give you grace. But you lose to one of those other guys, then we got to talk about it, right? Because Josh Allen isn't great. No one thinks Josh Allen is amazing, even though the only guy that beats him in the playoffs religiously is Patrick Mahomes. It's the only guy.
Didn't Joe Burrow wipe the floor with Josh?
I said religiously. I said religiously. Because how many
everybody,
games?
Pat Mahomes is beating up on everybody, right?
He's 0-3 to Patty.
It's like the Jordan era, right? You got all these great players, top 50 guys, Hall of Famers, but never got a ring because of one guy.
Michael.
One guy spoiled it for the rest, right?
Yep.
And that's what you're seeing with Mahomes.
Brady.
He is on top of the world until he's not. And so right now, I feel like at this given moment, there's not a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson right now. Right now. Now, when the playoffs come, okay, that's another hurdle to overcome. We know that. We know you got to go to the Mahomes Invitational, a.k.a. the AFC Championship. And it's probably going to be in Arrowhead.
He's got to get
for
there.
Either Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's not making it.
Josh
Allen, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. One of those 3 are going to have to go. Okay? Let's see what happens.
It's going to be exciting. Hey,
see what happens.
So there's your MVP. We're kind of mixed on that. So Rookie of the Year, we already talked about Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels. Those are the 2 front runners. Offensive Player of the Year. Who's your Offensive Player of the Year should Lamar Jackson win the MVP? Because as we know, that's where the media is going to go.
I think it's Barkley or Derrick Henry. I think you got to give it to a running back. I think what those two are doing is absolutely fantastic. I'd even throw a Josh Allen in there if he didn't happen to win it. He just hadn't put up a lot of touchdowns like we normally are used to seeing. And maybe that's just because of the cast he has, and he doesn't have to do as much. They rely more on the run game. But I'd say you give it to two of those backs, you know?
I'm with you, man. I really thought maybe
I think the two backs deserve the love.
If Saquon gets MVP, which I think he should, I think Derrick Henry deserves Offensive Player of the Year, because I'm sitting over here screaming that without him to the Ravens aren't nearly as explosive. He changes the way that they play offense. And I think we've seen that. I'm with you. Barkley or Henry, whoever doesn't win the MVP, should probably get this Offensive Player of the Year. But that leaves us to one more guy, and that's the Quarterback of the Year. In your world, Lamar wins the MVP. So who's the Quarterback of the Year?
Lamar.
No, you can't have both.
Yeah, you can. Lamar.
Okay. Quarterback of the Year for me is Josh Allen. He lost his number one receiver in the offseason.
Yeah.
They just got him a number one receiver midway through the year in Amari Cooper, and he's still been on a tear. To me, the Quarterback of the Year, and I've been screaming it all year, is Josh Allen. It could have been Baker Mayfield, but he lost all of his weapons.
I'll throw a curveball out here.
But I'll still say Baker has an opportunity to win one of these awards.
Jared Goff.
Okay.
Jared Goff has done a great job for the city of Detroit and that team.
Yeah.
He deserves it too.
All right. I'll give you that.
And Jalen Hurts.
I'm not giving Jalen anything. Ever.
Hey, man, he's got over 20. He's got 26 total touchdowns accounted for. He gets it done. He's got 11 TDs on the ground.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Listen, that's a tush push. We understand that. Who cares?
He runs it into
those things from 30 yards out like a Lamar or Josh Allen. So I don't want to.
He does run like that.
Anyway, let's go to the matchups this week. We've got some good matchups. Who are you looking forward to the most?
Man, I like the Jordan Love Tua matchup. I think this is another must-win game for Miami. Look for a showdown out there. Is it in Green Bay?
This game is in Green Bay because Tua was yesterday saying, "You guys think I can't play in the cold? Wait and see what happens."
He can't.
He says that he's changing the narrative this week.
Brother, he ain't lost it. He's never won a game under 40 degrees.
He disagrees with you.
Well, the stats say a different thing. You better tune up the brain there, because it's gonna be cold. It's gonna be another cold game, man. It's 28 degrees. You're not winning that game. But Herbert and Cousins, I want to see that matchup. That's gonna be a game. That's going to be a
those two teams are playing to stay alive, right? The Falcons are trying to create some separation with them and the Buccaneers, and the Chargers need to win after last night. So
yeah, they're going to beat the Falcons.
I'm with you. Really looking forward to that game.
My man said a snooze fest, but this is two of the best dual threat quarterbacks going at it. This is going to be a lot of highlights and cool plays. Lamar versus Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, if you like watching the quarterback run around, if you like watching lollipop throws to one of the best receivers.
This isn't the 1970s anymore. We have guys who can actually move around and utilize their legs to extend plays and sustain drives. That's the new era now, dog. It's not a 7-step drop. Let's stand in the pocket and let my knees get hit. Nope. AR5 versus Drake May, the Puppy Bowl. I call it the Puppy Bowl. Who's going to win that? I think it's going to be AR5.
I'm going to give it to Drake May. I think Drake May and the Patriots are going to get themselves a win because the Colts are an absolute dumpster fire as an organization right now.
Steelers versus the Bengals.
You know what? This is a very entertaining game because we know the Bengals can beat you any given week. Any given week, right? Because Joe Burrow is just
not this week. It's over.
But the Steelers have been on a tear, but they just lost the game they weren't supposed to lose. I'm going to give the edge to the Steelers here, but don't be shocked if Joe Burrow puts on a show and the Bengals win this game. Don't be shocked.
Man, I don't know, man. I think the Steelers are going to get after him, man.
That's going to be a fun one.
I think they're going to get after him. And then you got the backup bowl, a.k.a. the toilet bowl, a.k.a. Big city with no good records bowl.
Rush
trash,
versus
garbage,
Vito.
dumpster juice bowl.
Hey,
The Dallas Cowboys rush versus Tommy DeVito, my man. What is he going to do? I need you to throw a bunch of picks, okay?
I put that in there because I'm going to be at the game. Just bought tickets this morning. My wife really wanted to go, so we're excited. Hey, that's Thanksgiving. Nice. That's a tradition. That's an American tradition. Cowboys play at 3:30, 3:15 every Thanksgiving. By the way, I get to watch the Bears get beat up by the Lions before that, so that should be a lot of fun as a Bears fan.
Blowout.
I tried to get my wife to go to Detroit to watch that game live, and I couldn't get her to go. She said nothing good is in Detroit. So sorry, Detroit, I wasn't allowed to go. Brandon, let's get into your fantasy, man. We got to get things wrapped up here. Who do you have for who do you start and who do you sit?
I'm gonna go through this real quick. I mean, your boy's been on a tear. So, Mahomes versus the Raiders. Josh Allen versus the 49ers. AR5 versus the Patriots. You want to start them. Now, the guys you want to sit, Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, K1, and Jaden Daniels.
Wow.
Sit them. Sit them.
Wow. Jared Goff, though?
Hey, he's going against a stingy defense.
You just said he could win MVP.
Bears have actually led. If we're talking about fantasy, Bears are one of the top fantasy points by a defense. They get a lot of takeaways. They get takeaways. They get sacks, right? Special teams, they've done pretty good as well. Jared Goff, I mean, good luck, man. If that run game's not there, they're going to have a day.
Do the Bears have a chance to win this week? Is that what I hear you say? What?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes. It's a division rivalry. It's a division rivalry.
Look, they got their heart. They got their heart.
They've been playing some good ball and they've been playing close.
Got our heart broken in Minnesota. Oh, we should have beat them. Anyway, that was a heartbreaking.
Yeah, Cousins versus the Chargers. I don't see that going very well.
No.
Rodgers K1 right now. We're in Call of Duty season, so I don't see that going well either, brother. You're playing the Vikings, and have fun with that. Jaden Daniels, he plays the Tennessee Titans. That's a sneaky team defensively. That's a sneaky team. They made C.J. Stroud look like a rookie.
Yeah.
So
going to be interesting. Maybe the Washington Falls. I'm not upset if they do, although it's kind of a lesser of two evils. I got to watch the Eagles win our division, so that should be great. Hey, folks, thanks again for tuning into the QB Huddle podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. Don't be afraid to comment. We love the comments. Thanks to our producers, Mark Watson and Brandon Franklin. Thanks to Jett Huff for joining us, and good luck to him in his big game this weekend on ESPN versus Ferris up in Michigan. For my podcast partner and San Francisco loyalist, Brandon Newey, I'm Tim Smith. Till next time, keep those chains moving, folks.
Peace.